Hey guys, welcome back to GeoBoss DE. So we're going to be checking out a video titled Why Germans Don't Get Fat Like Americans, and this is coming from Nalf. So go check out the original video, and shout out to Nalf. He always has some really interesting videos, honestly. Nalf, he gives me that, more realistic perspective due to the fact that I can relate more from his POV, if that makes any sense. However, we're gonna be checking out this video right now, so thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and share this video, and help me get some new subscribers and viewers. But either ways, guys, let's get right into this video.
I've lived in Germany on and off since 2016, and living here has given me a very valuable outside perspective.
Bro, I thought he was gonna say 6. I was like, wait, what? 6? I was by 6.
Of my home country, the USA. And a huge takeaway for me has been that Germany is sort of the land of moderation and the middle, while the United States is the land of extremes. Extremely rich, extremely poor,
extremely poor. Oh, I get
beautiful,
that.
Extremely ugly,
hideous,
extremely fit, and extremely fat. Behind only the...
You see what I'm talking about? This is why I rock with Nalf, bro. Like his video, like right off the bat, like I'm just hooked on it with the factual situations that he's explaining. Extremities, like I was wondering what the heck he talking about. Extremities, like what are you talking about? But then extremities in terms of size, in terms of poverty, prices, rich, poor,
small
solid.
Island nations, the United States is the most obese country in the world. The ranging numbers estimate that 30% of American adults are overweight, while 42% are considered obese, leaving over 2/3 of America's adult population being considered overweight or obese, among the highest in the world. But contrast this to Germany, a Western nation with a lot of societal similarities to the United States. And you'd think a country that's obsessed with bread and beer would also have this problem on the same scale. But Germany actually has a much lower prevalence of obesity, with the rate being around 19%. Even when just walking around in these two countries, you can notice this difference. So for the past few weeks, I've taken a deep dive into why this is, and it's been fascinating at times and shocking at times.
That is wild.
So settle in,
my boy.
and let's talk about why Americans get fat and Germans do not.
Before Buddy gets into his things that he discovered, off the bat, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I don't know if we're gonna, lock in. I don't know if we're gonna say the same thing, but for me, I think a few things. First of all, food culture is different in America. People in Europe go out to eat. People in America, if they go out to eat, they get it from the drive-thru, sit in the car, they eat, take it back home, they eat fast food. Not saying that people in Europe don't eat fast food. Now, with the fast food in Europe, it has criteria that it has to fulfill, meaning that not everything that is found in the American fast food is in the European fast food. So that's two things already. Number two, I think Europeans are very much more active. They go out, Germans, they go out, they walk, they go on the beach, they do a lot of things, right? I've probably never seen an obese person in America on the beach, and I'm talking about South Carolina with a freaking beach, a coastline, right? So I've never seen an obese person on the coastline, right? Meaning at the beach. So I think it has a lot to do with activities, laws, and simply just the culture of being more lazy and not wanting to go out to eat these type of food. So y'all can let me know what y'all think.
Are not winning their battle against obesity.
I can juggle these.
What's that freaking belly pepper?
That was actually pretty good. You see that?
I can't do that.
Okay, chill out. Now, while we're on the subject, let me tell you guys a little bit about my health. So many of you guys know I've been an athlete almost my entire life, so my health and wellness are super important to me. I really like to take care of myself and my body. I always find that I feel my best both mentally and physically when I really take care of what I put into my body. And that is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, AG1. So AG1 is a daily foundational nutritional drink that supports health for your entire body. The science-driven formula supports the brain, the gut, and the immune system. As human beings, we all rely on certain nutrients, vitamins, and minerals for our overall health. Now, you guys know me, I don't have the most diverse diet in the world, and I don't get all of the necessary vitamins and minerals from what I eat, and that is where AG1 helps me out. And man, I just feel great mentally and physically when I drink AG1. It's becoming a morning routine for me. It's an effortless daily habit. I drink it in the morning on an empty stomach. So that's the first thing that my body gets in the morning is 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality. Straight to my body and my brain.
It tastes phenomenal. I really like how it tastes.
One of the best things about drinking AG1 for me is now I'm drinking much less coffee. So I start my day off drinking AG1 and I get this sort of sustained,
like a boost,
relaxed focus and energy. When I drink coffee, I get kind of up and down and a little bit jittery, but when I drink AG1, I have a much more natural, less jittery energy. I've also noticed that I feel less stress both mentally and physically when I start my day with AG1. When my body just gets all of these vitamins and minerals and nutrients that it needs and craves, I can just feel it, that my body and mind are more satisfied and calm. So guys, go to drinkag1/NALF or click the link in the description to get started
off
on an order of AG1. They are going to give you guys, my audience, a free 1-year supply of AG Vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 AG1 packs with your first purchase. I really recommend it. It helps me feel great overall, mentally and physically each day. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. All right, back to the video. So there's a few main categories that I think we need to discuss. The first is lifestyle.
The Germans love to walk. Of course, there's walking and there's walking. The Sonntagsspaziergang or Sunday stroll has long been an established feature in the lives of many German families.
So Germans are pretty famous for loving the outdoors. Now, this is not to say that Americans don't also love outdoor activities. I would actually even argue that certain American states like Colorado and parts of my state, Oregon, are just as active, if not more active, than Germany. But we're talking about the countries on average as a whole. Germans are much more active in the outdoors than Americans. And from my perspective, Germans seem to participate in physical activities that are sort of mild in nature, and they don't really seem to separate their life from their exercise.
I feel like people in the United States either are obsessed with fitness and working out almost in an unhealthy way, or don't work out or exercise at all.
So for example, with activities like walking or a mild hike or a little bike ride, this seems to be very common with Germans. And the stats back it up. 80% of German households own a bike, while only 48% of American households.
Not even 50.
Now, we'll touch a little bit more on this stuff later, but I think it's important just to recognize sort of the different attitudes of these activities between the two different countries.
So since living in Germany, every time I go back to the States, I feel a little bit sick for about a week. And I always kind of joked that it's like, oh, my body got used to not consuming all of those American chemicals, while in Germany, now I'm back and my body is dealing with those chemicals again. And it was always like kind of a joke. But after researching everything, it seems like there's probably quite a bit of truth to that.
Diet, food, chemicals. It's the early 20th century.
So he already be touching on 2 points that I already gave out. The whole lifestyle activity, walking and all that. Being more lazy, that's just flat out more American. And now he's touching on the food, the chemicals and all that type stuff inside of the food.
Hard in the U.S. We're facing the Dust Bowl, and eventually the Great Depression. So during this time, farmers faced severe economic hardship. And so the government implemented interventions to stabilize agricultural markets and support struggling farmers, including the subsidization of corn. Now, this was actually supposed to just be a temporary measure, but over time, we realized all of the industrial applications of corn. Aside from it just being a very below average food that I never get on my Chipotle, it has a wide range of applications, such as biofuel production, animal feed, and food processing. Eventually, lobbying groups came into play as well, which leads this to still be happening today. So the situation in the US today is that corn is subsidized by the government and it is cheap and abundant. And this has led to the development and widespread use of high fructose corn syrup. This is an artificial sweetener made of corn that's cheaper than sugar and satisfies that.
I can't believe I'm learning something from now today, bro. Like, I did not know that high fructose corn syrup was actually from corn. I just thought it was just the name. Okay, because a lot of things have a name that is, related to something else, but it doesn't actually, it's not actually that product. So I had no idea.
American sweet tooth palate. So if you saw the video where my cousin Ty tried that sort of, I forgot what it was called, but this pastry from the German bakery, which is one of the most sugar-filled pastries you can get at a German bakery, and he described it as like a diet donut.
And Ty actually picked out something that I've never eaten before.
Crazy.
A Quarktasche.
It tastes like a diet donut.
Ty says it tastes like a diet donut.
That just kind of shows the difference right there.
That's crazy.
Our American palates are hooked on sweets, which is satisfied by this incredibly unhealthy high fructose corn syrup, which helps plump us up. So today, the most subsidized crop in the USA is still corn, which is not the case in Germany. Germany primarily subsidizes wheat, barley, and dairy. And this is possibly why whenever Germans come over to the United States, they always complain about the quality of American dairy products. That was one of the things my girlfriend was excited when she came back to Germany to get good dairy again. So we're drowning in the high fructose corn syrup in the USA, and it's in an alarming amount of food. And this is helping to make us fat. It's also crazy when you look at a food product, the exact same product, the American version versus a European version, and how much more sugar is in the American version and how many more chemicals are in the American versions of food.
Yes.
So American food is governed by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, while the EU is governed by the European Food Safety Authority. But check this out. The FDA allows additives to be used in American foods until they are proven harmful. Europe, on the other hand, will only allow certain additives in food after they have been proven to be unharmful. The FDA is a reactive government, while the European agencies are precautionary.
That's actually really, really, really good. That is really, really good. I heard him say the FDA, if it hasn't been proven to cause any issues, and I'm like, okay, so what Europe does then? Like, it got to be proven to be good before that's hats off, man.
That is wild.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying that all of these chemicals and additives are making us fat and obese like high fructose corn syrup, but they're probably not healthy and probably not helping us. Another obvious major point with food is fast food culture and portion sizes. The United States is a culture that values convenience, and there's nothing more convenient than fast food.
Wait, hold on. So Chick-fil-A is actually in the South, like a lot then. I had no idea. Like, this is a nice map because Chick-fil-A, like, you see a lot of Chick-fil-A in South Carolina, right? And I was not actually... I wonder what does this, map means. Like, is it the most populated fast food? Like, this state has most... How do I make it make sense? This state has, when it comes to fast food, they have more Chick-fil-A's than anything else. You know what I mean?
companies come from the United States, and it's ingrained in our culture.
Five Guys.
Additionally, portion sizes in the USA are comically big. I didn't even realize this until I lived in Germany and then came back to the States, only to see how crazy they really were.
You know, another thing is I live in an old European town that was built for the foot, not for the car, and I very conveniently walked down to the grocery store to pick up these groceries, something I do almost every other day. So it's just sort of built into the lifestyle here. Walk down to the grocery store. That probably gives me 2,000, 3,000 steps every time I do it, and I do this multiple times a week. Something I don't do in the United States. In the United States, when I go to the grocery store, I'm driving there.
You gotta whip it, baby. You gotta whip it.
Less healthy foods with a lot more yummy, but bad for you, chemicals.
And this subject of walking brings us to our next topic: cities and infrastructure. We all know that the United States is a huge country and incredibly spaced out, and more often than not, you do need a car to live in the United States. It's just too big and things are too far apart.
Yeah.
American cities were largely made for the car, while European and German cities were made more for the pedestrian and the foot. So this is the typical excuse for why Americans drive more than Europeans and walk and bike way less. It's because our country was built for the car and we can't do anything to help it. That's just how our country's set up and how it is. But what if we eliminated some of these variables and found a little bit of consistency? For an example, I came across this really interesting set of data that took a look at Stuttgart and Washington, D.C. These cities have similar economies, labor markets, and core populations of around 600,000 people. Funny enough, these are also two cities that I have spent quite a bit of time in. I went to college for 4 years in Washington, D.C., and I do a lot of work now in Stuttgart with the Stuttgart Surge football team. So I know both of these cities pretty well. D.C. is also known as one of the very few American cities with good public transportation. I can attest to this. I actually used this in college, and it's also one of the most walkable cities in the United States. So let's take a look at some of this data.
I'm not gonna lie, when I was there, I seen a lot of folks walking. I didn't recognize it to be a walking area, you know, like a place where people walk a lot. But when I was there, a lot of people actually do walk. Like I done seen a lot of people walking. But I thought it was just because it's a special area.
People transport themselves throughout these respective cities. 76% of people in Washington, D.C. own a car, while only 58% of people in Stuttgart do. The percentage of all trips made by car, 83% of Americans in D.C. Just 58% of Germans living in Stuttgart. This is also interesting. The percentage of trips made by walking, 11% for people in D.C., 24% for people in Stuttgart. And for cycling, 1% of trips made by Americans in D.C. were made by bicycle, whereas 10%...
You want to know a little thing? Maybe I could go and say 80% of my travel and my trips currently living here in Finland, having a bike for maybe about 2 months now, or a month, or something of the sort like that, is actually by a bike, by a bicycle. So yeah, I've changed my life, because the thing is, I'm more of the, I was an athlete just like Nalf, so I guess I'm more inclined to, you know, paddling and, is it paddle? Is it pedal? What the heck is it? Paddling? I don't even know. But I'm more inclined to, you know, chopping it up on a bike and just go about my business. So in states, man, in the US, in America, whatever, however you want to say it, you'd never find me having a bicycle. Never. Period. Never.
In Stuttgart, 10 times as much. So even when walking and biking is an option, like in Washington, D.C., we Americans choose not to. I think it's ingrained in us a little
It's
bit.
a nature.
I would argue that
culture.
sort of low intensity, mild exercise like biking and especially walking are the best ways to lose weight and lose body fat. You can do a lot of it
To
casually,
maintain.
and it's not like jogging or running. That's a bit more intense and will possibly work up a big appetite for you. So you come home and you splurge on a bunch of food after working out. This is why walking is probably the best for losing body fat. But we just don't do it. Americans refuse. We hate walking. And a lot of it can be blamed on our cities and how our country is structured. But looking at this example of DC and Stuttgart and seeing the differences in these statistics really opened my eyes to show that it's not just that, we also have different attitudes when it comes to this stuff.
Listen, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it, high fructose coat it, however you want to say it. I'm not gonna do none of that. I'm gonna just tell you straight up. Americans are just flat out much more lazy, and nobody wants to walk. Nobody wants to walk. Walking is seen as, why are we walking? It's not privileged, you know what I mean? So it's a situation where, factually speaking, nobody wants to walk, and it's an issue. And when you calculate, less mobility, one, and then number two, the fact that, okay, nobody wants to walk, but we're eating these type of food, that's two, that's automatically going to just put it, right out the scale. It's going to break the scale. It's tough. It's a tough situation, but it is what it is. Can't really do nothing about it, but y'all can let me know how y'all feel about the situation in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out of here. Peace.